Obviously, this is a great day, but overall, what's going through your mind about how things have gone so far?
You know, it's a disappointing start. It's disappointing for me. It's disappointing for the coaches. It's also 6 games into a 34-game season. I think that Seattle Sounders start in 2010 was probably a disappointing start for them in their second year. They ended up winning the U.S. Open Cup, and they ended up being a playoff team. It was probably a disappointing start for Kansas City last year. When they got off to the start they did. They ended up going to the Eastern Conference finals, just missed going to the MLS Cup. You know, we've clearly been public with our aspirations for this team and our expectations for the team. And you know, when things don't go well in this sport, everybody wants to paint it as a lot worse than it is. That's the nature of sports. The media and the fans want to do that. And when things are going well, they often think you're better than you are too. And I think you know, I'm just going to let the team talk for itself, and you know, we got some things that we need to fix. On our end, we've also had a lot of bad luck, you know, and I'm not gonna point fingers to you know, bad calls or injuries or that kind of stuff. But you know, it clearly, when it comes, it comes, and when it's, you know, this is a sport that moves in cycles. We get our bad play out of the way early. That's fine with me. I'd rather be playing well late.
You know what? One more thing about the start this season. The LA game, the second goal by Chris that was disallowed. Any thoughts about instant replay, things like that? When that happened, obviously it had to bother you because it looked like a good goal?
Well, and Juninho's goal wasn't a goal either, in hindsight. But you get caught up at that stuff, you give power to it. And that's the excuses. There's all kinds of things we could have done that we didn't do. And frankly, LA had a lot more shots on goal than we did in that game and controlled the second half. Does that make a big difference if they correctly call Chris Boyd's goal, which was a spectacular goal? You better believe it does. But you know, the fact of the matter is, and it you know, that's tough, and it's tough. I watched that thing about 15 times. But at the end of the day, it's not the refs. It just isn't the refs. I mean, refs aren't letting goals in late in the games. You know, that stuff adds up. But finger pointing, there's one. You know, you look in the mirror and you figure out how you can do more. And every one of our players, our coaches, us, you know, that's the way you change your luck. And when you start winning, winning breeds winning. You know, this is a sport that's as personified by cycles as any sport I've seen, and I've been a fan of a lot of sports. And a lot of teams get hot and they get cold. But soccer, more than anything, every team goes through a tough spell over the course of a season. We're having ours at the front end.